Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
Well, we know in today's day and age of the internet, all it takes is somebody to say something, and then it then becomes fact once people read it.
That's why I wanted to quantify everything that we had that conversation about the baseball game.
There was a post on Reddit where somebody accused Ric Flair of being a serial pants pooper. He posted, "Does Ric Flair keep coming to your restaurants and shitting himself? Man has shit himself like 6 times this year. Drunk as F at bars and other restaurants. He gets thrown out of Water Street places all the time. Anybody in the service industry having to deal with this shit too?" Well, the guy has now deleted that post, but of course now, without any proof, Ric Flair now goes to bars and shits himself. This is now fact that people are taking. And then somebody put out a fake tweet of Ric Flair's response saying it wasn't poo running down my leg, it was another bodily fluid running down his leg.
Oh my God, come on.
It was fake. That was a fake tweet, but people think that Flair really they think that is real as well. So Flair's probably just sitting at home minding his own business, doing nothing, and now everybody thinks he's out shitting his pants at bars, and he responded with, "No, I'm just down my leg."
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a serial shitter now. Hey, listen, I experienced this ages before anyone else. I got canceled before cancel culture was a thing, and it's now grown even 100 times, 1,000 times worse. Literally, a woman walked that was an assistant professor of communications at Kennesaw State College. We all know. I just dug out the article and the whole situation. Literally, without doing any homework, without doing any kind of investigation, just jumping to conclusions and assumptions. Now we espouse our opinion in a public forum. Now, and that was with her writing a letter to the Atlanta Constitution. Now you got your phone in your pocket. You could immediately, the minute you get a wild hair up your ass, you can go on and make any public statement or claims about someone and their personal identity and proclivity and not face any repercussions. None. I honestly, and I'm amazed because I am not a type of person that restricts people's ability to express themselves. They can express themselves any way they want, because regardless of what you think, the actual fact of the matter is this: there are 8 billion people in the world. You can only control one of them, and that's you. And the one thing that you have control of is your reactions. You can choose to behave and react and feel anything you want. You choose to get offended and exasperated and upset. That's your choice. You don't know. You're making an assumption as far as the person's intent, the getting upset about a joke, etc., which I don't know how we've gotten onto this topic all day today, but going now and then making public statements that defame and libel people, and then thinking you could just do it without any kind of repercussion, which right now you can on the internet, let's face it. And then that person gets tried in a court of public opinion, and no one actually takes the time to actually conjugate a real thought or idea or opinion on the internet. They just go with what they just saw, like you pointed out, Jeff. They get away and they're fine with doing it until we have attorneys realize, hey, there's a lot of money there that I can make by taking on these libel and defamation of character cases, and these people face some kind of consequences for their behavior and their actions. Because right now, as it stands, somebody could go out and just say, oh, Vince Russo is ABC, whatever the negative comment is. And then before you know it, it becomes a shitstorm on social media. And now, Vince, you're known as the guy that's ABC.
Well, that was that's pretty accurate. That has
it is accurate.
How many times?
I'm going to push back. Can I push back?
Go ahead.
We got this A1 craze, and people keep making these A1 gimmicks of Tony Khan and myself hugging. I like it. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with these AIs of Tony Khan hugging me. I'm cool with that. But I'm gonna sue somebody for doing that.
That's not defamation. That's
all right. Okay, I just want to.
Now, if we were to say, let's say, hey, Vince Russo was okay, and then
Jeff, will you edit that out? Like this Calvone doesn't know that somebody's going to take that out of context and it's going to be a headline. Will you write the time code? What is wrong with you? Literally, seriously.
But I'm using it as an example. I'm not saying you are.
We got to use that. Will you, Jeff, get him on a simpler topic? Get him on a simpler topic, Jeff. Get him on a wrestling topic, please.
Please, I don't like this stuff at all.
Jeff, get him on a simple topic, please.
Well, tying in with social media. So Mick Foley was talking with Devon on Devon's YouTube about the match with the Undertaker, the going off the cell. And Foley believes that it would have been completely different if it took place in the social media days like today. He said, no one saw this one coming. Nobody saw it coming. And I think for a few years after this, there was a sense that people were trying to top this. But you could tell that they're trying to top it.
Right.
Whereas this was, not only was it completely unexpected, but it grew organically in fans' minds. There was no social media at the time.
Well,
I think if it had been on social media, it would have been a big deal for 3 or 4 days and then been largely forgotten. So I was lucky that people talked about it, because he talked about how today's culture consists of viral moments that are talked about quickly, and then by the next day they've moved on to something else.
True, but a lot of people don't understand the psychology of what was done, and that even he clearly doesn't himself. It wasn't the bump itself that everyone, I mean, that's clearly the biggest visual thing, but that's not what they remember. What they remember is when he got up off the stretcher and he walked back and was climbing back up. That was the moment. That was the fact. That was what got him over. And that was what created and caused and made that bump off the cage mean even more. The fact that he wouldn't quit. He wouldn't stay down. That he was inhuman and wasn't going to stop. The bump was great. It was amazing. They could have carted him out, you know what I mean, and been done. It was the fact that you watched him crawl and pull himself off that stretcher and then walk back down, and the visual of Taker standing on the top and him slowly climbing back up as Taker was waiting for him. Like, it was the Rocky moment of just stay down.
Yeah.
Just stay down. And that was the audience feeling. And that's why, even in this day and age, it wouldn't just last 3 or 4 moments. It would have carried through. That's why it seems different. Because for one, yeah, it was in the moment. It was, nobody expected it. But it was the aftermath that made it. The fact he continued to sell like he was a man hanging on, and the only thing that was keeping him going forward was his own force of will. Not the bump. Then he's right. After that, it was just, we're going to top that. We're going to top that. We're going to top it. To the point where now, whenever we have a Hell in a Cell, we all just go, well, they're going to make their way out of it. One of the idiots is going to climb up and fall off of it. And we know it.
Yeah.
And literally in the audience's mind, that's what you're thinking when you're watching it. They're gonna make their way out of it. They're gonna climb to the top. One of them's gonna fall off. Well, what an idiot. I wouldn't do that. It doesn't get them over because they think the bump is what got over.
Yeah.
It wasn't the bump. It was the sell of the bump and the fact that he wasn't going to quit.
Yeah. Great point.
And everyone misses that, including Mick himself, which is amazing to me. He doesn't even understand. And sometimes we're too close to the forest to see the trees.
Yeah.
We don't even understand the effect from our own actions. But he's bred because of that and inspired multiple people doing multiple stupid things off of incredible heights that we watch every week on videos. But we could go back to you and your cult and
hold on. I'm getting an emergency phone call. Apparently, Mick is listening to the show live, and he's not happy with what you just said. He got it. He wants to. Can I patch him through?
You can, even though
he says he wants to speak to you.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, go ahead. Mick, go ahead.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, you fuck you.